welcome to our Morning Throners podcast.
I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Glow.
And I'm Kyle.
We're the fucking Morning Throners.
And welcome back to another episode of your favorite Song of Ice and Fire podcast. We're the Morning Throners. Cat 4 on deck. That bitch suck. Just kidding. It's a good chapter.
It's a sick chapter.
Quick one.
Kyle, thoughts?
Breakfast, but we seem to be in a little bit of a mood tonight here.
Oh, we're fired up. It's a little early. We're recording a half hour early. Sometimes, an hour and a half early, depending on how.
It just means more time for fun.
Exactly. It's going to be a long one. We're going to stretch this one out because we can. Because we ain't got anything to do.
Let's read it forward and then let's read it backwards and see if anything happens. I was going to say,
if we just read it forwards, it might be actually shorter than a normal episode.
Her who went chill A. Well, as come will day his. Here, brother, my Dan.
What do you think of this chapter before we say anything about it? What's the new
first time reading thing? It was not at all what I expected to happen at the battle. I mean, I don't know that.
How much of a letdown?
You could have given me like 6 months to try and figure out what was going to happen, and I don't think I would have came up with, he's just going to get killed by a shadow in his tank.
Yeah, we were really surprised you didn't get that after the last chapter.
Yeah, definitely. Kyle's a fucking dumbass.
I mean, how do you not even think about some shadow thing coming?
Well, this is the first of anything like that, right?
Yeah, we've had no magic stuff at all. Yeah. It's
about
funny.
The shadows dancing in Dany's
I know,
old
but
pen.
they didn't stab anybody that I know of. So,
yeah.
They stabbed Dany's hopes and dreams.
I'm just thinking, it's so hard to imagine your first read. It's so hard for me to imagine my first read through in this where I thought Renly was going to be alive at the end of this chapter. You know what I mean? There's supposed to be a big battle going on here, and it's a completely different, somber attitude, praying, and then assassination type thing at the end. Not at all.
I was kind of excited for another fight of some sort here. And
yeah, you definitely. If I remember back to the prediction, it was it's going to be a dope ass battle, or
it's going to be
something. They were at least going to meet each other in the field, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, what is the other option?
Yeah.
Shadow
coming and slashing.
Renly getting tired and just turning around and going home. Or Stannis saying, you're right. Yeah, no.
So there is the weird, without jumping too far ahead, there's the weird thing where Kat has the realization about the whole brand thing. I think we were talking about at the end of the last Kat chapter. And she brings that to Renly at the very end with hopefully a last ditch proposition for him. But nobody's about that. I don't think it would have worked too much anyway, even if Renly was about it. But we'll get to that when
I think if anything, it would have given Stannis. I don't know that it would have stopped anything, but I think Stannis would have pursued it in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, even just
a little backup to his claim, but I don't think he would have been let's not fight now. I'll just take you to Bran.
Yeah. I mean, even I was thinking more or less just timeline wise, from the time Kat proposes that, how many minutes are there? It's 3 minutes, maybe 2 minutes till Renly's dead. What are you going to do in 2 minutes? You know what I mean? But you have to set this whole thing up in 2 minutes. The clock's ticking, but
clock is a ticking.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to, let me add on before I forget it, but it's pretty, cowardly of Stannis. I don't know. I mean, it seems for somebody that's so uptight and by the rules and all that stuff to
go to some sorcery.
Yeah, it seems dirty. It's a dirty play.
What's dirtier?
And even Renly's I'm not going to go attack him in his sleep. Yeah. But Renly, he was
and he lost, and he lost the opening kickoff decision and had to go into the sun to start.
Yeah,
you never want to look into the sun.
Renly was in English.
Yeah.
He lost the coin toss, so he had to defer, or he had to.
Just making a football analogy where he basically was taking a disadvantaged position going into the sun just because he knew he was so big. In football, you flip the coin. Whoever wins gets to choose if they get the ball first in the first half, second half, and whoever doesn't get to pick that gets to choose which way they go. Basically, sometimes mostly it's a win thing.
So he probably he got the football. He probably won the toss, took the ball, and then
because nobody ever picks the direction or first, because you can pick either, right?
Yeah. You would if you want the direction, you would defer to the second half, and then or
it's confusing. You can really
you could actually choose. Direction if you wanted to, but
it's not as simple as Madden. Anybody's played Madden makes this seem you can fuck it up and accidentally kick the ball off both times.
Yeah.
We did that.
If you choose a direction,
we did that when we in one of our college football games, and we had to be hold on, we fucked up. Don't let it can we please get a do over? Yeah, can we get a do over?
Stop the game.
I think we got it.
Yeah,
but
if you choose a direction that was your choice. So they still get choice in the second half. So they could technically get the ball both halves to start.
Yeah. So when you win the coin flip.
Coin flip.
Jesus. What you're actually winning is the choice to choose what you want to happen now or choose what you want to happen later.
Yep.
Right. And if you choose now, then you say receive. Whenever you say
Or
now,
defer.
you receive. If you defer, then they're gonna receive, and
you defer to the second half. Yeah. So then you're basically saying receive.
You defer your choice to choose to the second half, and then you choose to receive in the second half.
Yeah. You're not going to choose and then kick off, but
we're way too far down this rabbit hole. But I thought once you picked a direction, the second half you always went the opposite direction.
Nah, you choose in the second half.
Really?
Yeah. Again, it's like a really weird.
I didn't know that, but yeah, you do.
No, so whoever gets to choose in the second half will pick first, and then the second person gets to pick which
I
direction
don't think
you
I've
go.
ever seen, and I don't watch any football games. So
a lot of the
much,
times they do it without now, like even bringing the captains back in.
Yeah.
Like it's like, all right, what do you
want?
want?
I'm saying I don't think I've ever seen a team go the same direction twice.
Oh, for sure. I mean, in the first and
But
the
like
third
I said,
quarter,
I've watched
but
negative football games the last 10 years. So
it would never
only
be.
happens
It
if
can
somebody
happen
does
in the
this fuck
second and
up.
third.
They go the same direction in 2 quarters every single time. It switches every quarter, so you always go the same direction 2 quarters. So what people think is, if I choose to kick, then I'll just automatically receive in the first half. Second half. No, I have a choice of what I want to do right now, and Jeff has a choice. The other team has a choice of what they want to do in the second half. So if I kick now, they can receive in the second half, and I'm fucked. I kick both times. But yeah, normally because of that, you say, okay, I'll receive, or I'll defer my choice to the second half, and then you choose to receive in the second half.
Makes you kick.
The direction thing makes it so that whoever, after the choice of receiver kick, the other team gets to choose the direction. So it normally just makes up the better direction you can choose it. We're way too far down this rabbit hole.
I didn't know we were in a football podcast.
All right, so we start with Kat. They get to this town, her, Sir Wendell, and Robar Royce.
Yep.
Robar?
Yeah, Robar. So he's the Rainbow
man.
Guard. Yep, that was
the
sent.
envoy.
Yeah,
Renly.
Renly sent to escort Kat and them to this. What she just wanted to go pray. Basically, is what she at the end of the last Kat chapter. Last time on Kat,
which I didn't think it was a play, but I kind of wasn't sure, but it ended up not being a play. You know what I'm saying?
You thought she was going to bail or something?
No, I didn't think she was going to bail, but whip out her cell phone and.
Send her a Raven text message.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, pull some sort of trickery or try and convince Robar or something here. But
yeah, at the end of the last Cat one, basically she asked Renly if she can leave. He's like, no, you have to watch the battle. And she's like, okay, well at least let me go pray at the sept before the battle. He's like, okay, fine, but you gotta be back by dawn. Picks up right here. It's only 2 chapters ago.
And you have to walk to a fucking other town. Well,
yeah, there's no scepter. They're out there in the middle of a field.
Draw some stick figures in the dirt and let's get this thing going.
No, she went.
No, I'm saying.
Oh, gotcha. Could have been just
how
as
far
good.
do I have to walk? Never mind. I'm good.
Never mind.
I'll figure it out. Make me a tent.
Yeah. She could have painted these faces herself.
So we do get a little bit of history of the sept of the 7, right? Like Kyle said, you need 7 walls. There's 7 sorts of figures to represent each version of
Whether
the god.
It's a mask, a drawing, or an altar, whatnot. Depends on how rich you are and how much time and money you spend into the sept.
Yeah, I mean, even just like the whole how the religion works, I don't know how much we really dug deep into it, like even the 7 aspects, like what they are. I'm sure we've probably talked about it in terms of like how deep the books have gone. This is probably like kind of deeper into like how the religion, at least like how the people pray to the different gods and stuff, how that works. I don't think we've ever really seen this too much before.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that correct, Kyle?
Mm-hmm.
No, this is the first. I mean, we might have heard about like the father or the mother or somebody, but I don't think we got this deep dive into kind of just how it all individually worked.
Like firsthand experience, people praying.
It was pretty neat. Yeah, I mean, Jeff is wrong yet again. Catelyn's chapter pretty exciting, and like I thought this history was cool. I thought it was pretty quickly as well.
Good job.
I'll say it again.
Keep going, Kyle.
Catelyn sucks, but what happens around her is pretty cool.
Whispering Wood, this stealing Tyrion.
Even the last chapter. I mean, just. She's like going around. She's traveled the most.
And Tyrion.
She's all over the place. Her and Tyrion have traveled the most, so we've seen a lot.
Anything related to Rob? Yeah.
This place seems creepy as shit, though. Like this specific one.
I mean, just abandoned.
Yeah, it's just like what.
I mean, it's kind of weird too. Like you can't have like just charcoal like drawings. Like It must be really
if
poor.
they didn't have anything, well, yeah, exactly. A small little town in the middle of nowhere.
But all right, but like people are pretty handy. You think you could take like a little block of wood and like maybe carve a little like wood figure or something? Like I don't know. It seems like they just sold out on their religion.
Dude, they skipped the woodshop class that week, all right, dude?
How new is this religion, I guess, is the question. That's more of a Nelson question.
This is the newest one, right? So the
I know,
old gods.
but
It's got to be a couple hundred years old, though.
It was
old enough that they could have.
Yeah, it was practiced in Essos, I think, and then came over when all the Andals, right? They call them Jorah the Andal. That's what the Dothraki called them, just because it's like the white skinned people. They came from Essos, migrated into Westeros, and then I guess like the Dothraki just killed them all because there's really not that many more like Andals in Essos. So I guess just either they all of them migrated, or the Dothraki killed the ones that didn't migrate, or some combination of both. Now Dothraki kind of live where this religion came from. It used to be called Andalos, just like basically the hills that weren't the free cities. But yeah.
I actually didn't know that, Nelson. Thank you for the history lesson.
That's why you ask them questions.
Yeah, so it's probably about as equally as old as Red Gods. I don't know if we can equate it because they're probably those two religions probably were at the same time. That was going to
be my other question. Yeah, is how new is that one?
Those two
new here. It seems like because there's only a couple people
in Westeros.
Yeah, I'm guessing those two existed at the same time in Essos, but for all I know, that one could be really, really new in Essos. I don't think so, though. I think it's probably about as old as the other one. The old gods seem to be the really old ones, though, like clearly.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Kat's in there, and she starts praying to the mother for all of the sons about to die in battle, and hopefully not a lot of them have to die.
Yeah, she's saying like every single person that's going to fight here is a son, and you're the mother, so protect everybody. Try to make it as bloodless as possible, I think is what she's saying.
Looking ahead?
Yeah.
Kind of happened, yeah.
Kind of happened.
Dude, she got what she wished for.
Only one, yeah. That's
only one.
Probably a minimum you could ask for at this point.
And then she does think of her own sons.
It depends how many Brienne killed.
Yeah. There's some people going down afterwards.
And she sliced the guy's hand off. Like, that sucks.
Does she get
which
any
might be a death
tally marks
in that time?
I don't think she actually killed anybody, Brandon.
I don't think so either.
The hand sever, like, I mean,
in
that
this
might
day and age is bad.
You just stick that in the fire, dude. You're good.
Yeah, I mean, depends on what you do.
That shit.
I mean, it can still get infected.
Drink some milk of the poppy and he'll be fine.
They're in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a field. Who knows?
So yeah, she's at the mother. She kneels down. She's praying for her sons. After all the sons that are about to be in battle, she's like, especially my sons, Robb, Bran, Rickon. And then she's like, I wish I was with them.
John.
She doesn't mention John, but she does mention him later. He's not his son, not her son.
I know, but I mean, still.
And she don't like that motherfucker.
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of point to that.
So she notes that there's a crack coming through the face of the mother in this like charcoal wall, and it makes it look like she's crying.
You think that was planned? You're like, oh shit, we got this little crack here.
No, she notes how all there's cracks all over these walls. They're all like it's like a pretty battered place, but she just thinks that it makes it look like it's crying. Jesus.
Crying? What the fuck's wrong with you today?
I don't know.
Yeah, dude. The toin clip.
Join slip.
Yeah, whatever.
Coin costs.
I'm trying to let you guys talk today because clearly I can't do it. She notes how quiet. It's really quiet. All she can really hear is the voices outside, and she's thinking like, because she's praying to the mother, and she's like not hearing any answers. Even the gods aren't making any noise. She has this weird thought like, I wonder if Ned's gods ever answered him, if they could hear him.
But bada bing, we know that they were fucking talking to what's her name?
Through the leaves.
Osha, yeah.
Through the leaves
That's what
and
Osha
trees.
says. Yep.
I'm all in on them communicating.
Yep.
All my chips are on the table.
So she's talking about how the torchlight starts making it look like all the faces, these different gods, the faces that are painted, they're changing. She's like, in the big cities, their faces are carved really intricately of stone, so they are what they are. But here, they're so crude that it just like keeps shifting, and I can see anybody. She's seeing in the father's face, she sees Hoster, her own father, dying at River Run. And inside the warrior's face, she can see Renly and Stannis, Robb, Robert Baratheon, Jaime Lannister, and there's Jon Snow mentioned, and even a little bit of Arya. And then the wind blows and torch shifts, and it's all gone. So the smoke's hurting her eyes. She rubs her eyes, and when she looks back up, now the mother looks like her own mother.
Which is fun because this is the first we've ever heard of her.
I think we might have heard of her once before, but definitely not much.
I don't know. Manisa, that's the first time I've ever seen that.
She's in my notes, but she actually isn't mentioned in any of the books so far. So I don't know where I might have got her from like an appendix or something.
Yeah, no, I mean,
you're right.
I don't even remember like from the first time like them ever bringing her up. So it's kind of like We get a little bit of a story. Her, yeah.
I saw she was in my notes, so I figured she appeared once. But yeah, must have
You
just
did a tree. All right, Glo, tell us, Manisa.
She died in childbirth with Catelyn's other brother, I guess, or
I mean, he was stillborn. It sounds like
the Blackfish is not her brother, right? Who's her brother?
The Blackfish is Hoster's brother.
It's her brother-in-law.
Ed Muir is her brother.
Yeah, that's right. He's at the castle. You're right. Yep.
Yeah.
Then she starts thinking, like, what would my mom think about me now and all the events that's happened to me? Like, I basically abandoned everyone. In Catelyn's eyes, it's like she's abandoned. Her son doesn't want her. Her husband died without her. Don't have her daughters.
Yeah,
she's with her two sons.
She's a shit mom.
I've been putting in all this effort, traveled this whole distance, and I just got literally the worst outcome. Daughter's gone, like everything Glo said. Daughter's gone. Ned's gone. Ned's dead. Rob doesn't want me, and Bran and Rickon must think that I'm just like horrible.
Yeah. Well,
I just left him. Yeah.
If the shoe fits.
No.
If the shoe fits.
I don't know. I mean, she's done everything for, first off, her family. Like, that's always her motivation.
Yeah.
Whether or not I like Catelyn, I think that's a good motivation. That is her motivation.
Tully words, family, duty, honor.
Well, she's failed. She's failed on all three accounts.
Kyle, do you like Catelyn?
I had zero problems with this chapter.
Awesome.
Yeah,
chapter.
It's a good chapter. She just sucks.
I don't think she's been that bad yet.
Get fucked, Jeff.
Glo, you like her?
I don't dislike her.
Okay, we'll just keep going. I'm not going to keep going. She's awful.
She's kind of plain and like we
look back into the fire.
Fun stuff, but
she's awful. We look back into the fire, and now we see her sister in the mother's face. But wait, it's not her sister. It doesn't have her eyes. Wait, it's actually Cersei, which is very confusing. Did the face look like her? And then she looked in the eyes like, wait, that's not Lysa. Wait, this is Cersei.
Well,
I think it just doesn't make any sense.
I think it looked like Lysa with Cersei's eyes, and then the Cersei's eyes thing just got her like, oh, you know what? Cersei's a mother too. Even though I kind of think of her as the enemy, like I have to see her as like through the same lenses and seeing all these other people because she fits that mold.
She's gotta love her incest babies too.
Exactly. She's like, regardless who the father is, Cersei's a mother. The one I agree with you, Jeff. Though she doesn't linger on Lysa long. She literally says nothing about her, but just jumps right to Cersei. Not a word. Yeah, just need to get that name drop in there. So she's thinking that like even Cersei can weep for her children, and she's thinking that Sir Osmond. I think it's the first time we hear him, Septon Osmond. First time we hear him, who I'm assuming was and might still be. I have at least was at Riverrun because Cat says it taught her. Like he's one who taught her. Yeah.
I don't know why they thought that they were at the Eyrie because of.
I say the wrong thing all the time.
What's her name?
Yeah,
Lysa being out there.
Yep.
A little curious to think of like from now Cersei's point of view, like does she pray to the mother too? If we get that.
So I didn't finish. Sorry, I didn't finish my point there. So Sir Osmond, what he tells her about like what she relates to Cersei is that each of the seven embodies all of the seven. So she's saying like there's beauty in the crone, just like there is in the maiden, and the mother can be as fierce as a warrior when her children are in danger, right? And then I think like kind of this track is kind of how she goes to the whole Bran thing later on, like how she stumbled onto she was protecting Bran. Would I have done the same type of thing, right?
And I think absolutely, like she attacked an assassin basically, or like fought off an assassin. Like I think she would do whatever she needed to do.
Well, yeah, but that's what Nelson's saying is that then it gets her on that train of thought of where she's like, well, Cersei killed everybody that knew. Maybe that's why Bran had an attempt on his life. Oh my God, that's why Bran had an attempt on his life.
Yeah. Huge flag. Yeah. Huge flag goes off.
He saw, he knows he's part of this.
And we get just like a little bit more on incest. I don't know if we ever like talked much about like how much of an abomination it was. Like obviously, like to this point, it might have been as bad as being a bastard. Like it seemed pretty bad to be a bastard too. But
yeah, I mean, I think Kat just gives us definitely at least the religious take on it. She's saying that it's a monstrous sin for like both. Basically all religions. We don't know about the red god, but at least for old gods, new gods, yeah, and like they're cursed as abominations, and Sept and God would like. I think is what she says. And like the Targaryens are only okay with it because they don't answer to God or man alike. Yeah, it's weird. Which I never knew that. This weird pass. I mean, you knew that Targaryens wed brother to sister. You had to have known that.
Sure, no. But I didn't know like they weren't truly religious. It sounds like. I mean, it sounds like Dany like cares about gods and whatnot, and maybe she just didn't get that bringing up. Like maybe they changed at some point.
Yeah, I don't. Go ahead, Kyle.
To be fair, she wasn't around most of the people that.
For sure, but her brother, her dad. I don't know. Like I think her dad adopted the Seven, right? Or I guess when they just took, like, why wouldn't the Targaryens when they took over, they just like let people believe in their religion? Like, actually, we don't really care about religion. Like, keep doing what you're doing. But I'm your king.
The faith in the Targaryens is a huge plot line. Like for the first 100+ years of their reign, like the first 50 years, like the faith was not cool with the Targaryens. Basically, I think the way it happens is the first king comes over. He basically kills everybody, like just takes over all the castles by force. And he's married to 2 of his sisters. And because he just took over everything by force, they're like, okay, we can't really do anything about you. And then like once their reign starts to weaken a little bit, the faith basically gets not everyone, but lots of houses to revolt. This happens, I think, a bunch of times just because they're faithless. Basically, the Targaryens are faithless. Mm-hmm. So like there are multiple like religious movements against the Targaryens that definitely hinder their reign. It's all over the book Fire and Blood. It might show up in the new House of the Dragon show too. I'm not sure.
Probably.
Yeah. Wow, a little drop. House of the Dragon's coming.
House of the Dragon's coming. We don't know when yet. 2022 sometime. I heard that all the Game of Thrones seasons aired in April, or most of them came out in April.
I only watched the last one live, so
did that one come out in April?
I'm pretty sure that was April. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
So people think it might be April, but I feel like if it was April, we'd know by now.
Yeah, I mean that'd be like
very soon,
2 months away.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is when she figures out that Bran, like we talked about it, that Bran knows. That's why they killed him. Tried to kill him because she killed everybody else.
Yep. I think in addition to the Bran thing, she pieces together that Ned and John Arryn were probably both also killed because they knew about the same thing. Yeah.
I think one of the coolest parts of the chapter come up is when she actually does pray to each god then too.
Yeah, that's the next thing. Yeah. She basically doesn't know what to do. She's coming up to all these realizations and she's like, fuck, what do I do? Like, what do I do with all this knowledge? Like all this stuff that's coming to me.
Because he fixed things that are broken, give Bran protection.
Which is fucked up.
Made to lend courage to Arya and Sansa. What's fucked up?
I mean, Bran always thinks to himself, like, I can't do anything. I'm Bran the Broken. And she's literally like, I'm going to pray to the smith who fixes broken things about Bran. It's like...
Bran the Broken.
I know, but like it's like the thing that your son tells himself that you're like, no, don't say that. You're not. You're perfect. And then here she is like, and again, like Kat never did that, but
well, she hasn't heard him call himself Bran the Broken.
I know. I mean, it fits well. I just thought it was kind of like slightly fucked up. True. Yeah. She never saw him awake. Yeah.
She hits the maid for Arya and Sansa, father for justice, the strength to seek it, the wisdom to know it, the warrior to keep Robb strong and shield him in battles, and to the crone to guide her.
Yeah, guide her way ahead.
Often shown as with a lamp as if she guides people.
So. It's also, I mean, we just went through, we skipped over it, but the crone is a genderless person, or like both genders, right?
No, that's a stranger.
Oh, what did she say to the stranger?
Pray to the stranger.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
When she comes in, she says like, "Oh, the stranger symbolizes death. He's man nor woman, human nor humanless." Like a bunch of weird shit. It was just a black oval with stars for eyes. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to get any."
I got them confused.
Well, she just thinks to herself, "I'm not going to get any comfort there." So no, it's a good point that you bring up. Like she does pray to the mother a lot, and then she hits all the other ones here, skips the stranger. So yeah, people don't pray to the stranger.
Maybe she stops that shade from coming if she prays to the stranger.
Exactly. We don't want the death.
All right, Robar and Oxlane, time to go.
Got to go, my lady. It's getting close to dawn.
Yep. There was also one thing that caught my eye in there that I don't even know where it is, but maybe it's like when the faces are changing. She's mentioning that like shadows are like running along the walls or something like that.
Yeah, she calls them animals.
Yeah, there was just a few mentions of shadows throughout this chapter that I figured that Glow and Jeff probably caught on to because we knew it was going to happen. That like just jump out to me. Yeah. They don't like seem to mean anything, but just like ooh, shadow. Like here is about to be another one, right? Where she's walking through like the shadow,
the gray, right? It's all gray.
Yeah.
She calls them Shadow. Renly's Shadow Knights.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
I was locked into. Once I saw the first Shadow, it was like Shadow. That's keyword.
That's the type of thing that we normally talk about in the spoiler section. If like it isn't resolved at the end of the chapter, you know what I mean? Like the Shadow shows up.
It would have been cooler if it was chapter break and you had to like we would go back and be like, oh fuck, they mentioned Shadow. Like
Shadow read 14 times in this chapter.
Jeff would have been like, I'm so smart. It says Shadow so many times, the next chapter is going to be a Shadow. It's genius.
Yeah, I am.
I'm the smart one realizing that across books, bro.
I have a big brain.
All right. So she's riding through the pre-dawn gloom. Is that how she describes it? I feel like it's been described like that before. Dude, I was noticing this when I was out hunting. This last time I was hunting, I was in a tree stand before dawn.
Pre-dawn gloom.
There is a time where just everything's black and white. Like I'm just like looking around. Like I was in the woods, and I'm just like everything is just black. There's no color anywhere now.
When it's dark, you're saying?
Well, it's like. Around dawn.
You're dark and you're like away from any light source, right? So like
no. Like dawn is up. Like I can see the difference between snow and leaves, but they're just all grayscale. That happens when at like a weird time of, again, like I was wearing an orange jacket, right? If I look at my jacket, that's fucking orange. But like anything that like wasn't like right on me, there's the thing that the cats talk about at the end with like the mist that's coming up. That was there. Yeah. It just makes everything look really grayscale. It's
I'll
cool.
have to try and wake up early.
You gotta go out into the woods one day, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff.
I tried to get Jeff to go camping with me, and he said no.
It's not true.
That is true.
I've said yes multiple times.
When I asked Jeff to go camping, here's what he does. Sure.
No, but this is what you want to do. You want to go sleep on the ground with like a knife in your hand and like expect us to survive. And
a knife in my teeth.
Shut up. All right. So she's walking through the gray. Like we said, she notices everything is gray. The men are gray. They look like statues, kind of. I think she calls them. Or trees. Does she call them trees? And
trees, yeah.
Those are lances.
Yeah.
The lances were trees, dead trees without any leaves. She calls them gray men on gray horses beneath gray banners.
Renly, she calls them Renly's Shadow Knights.
Yep.
And she pulls up to Renly's tent where Parman and Emin are standing guard.
Yep.
And we talked about this a little bit last time, Kat. I think they have, just to confirm, a colored breastplate, right? Each one of them has one color. And then they do have a rainbow
cloak.
That's what I think. Yeah.
Whether it's like just a picture of a rainbow on it or it's like stripes of colors.
Yeah. They definitely have rainbow cloaks. Whether or not they each have a solitude of armor is up for debate, but it seems like there's at least multiple that do. Robar.
I mean, we know Robar is red, Brienne is blue. This one guy was
coat though. It says
light shown strands against the purple plums of the surcoat.
Yeah, but Brienne's,
which I don't know what a surcoat is.
Brienne's wearing
blue armor.
Brienne's not even wearing armor. Is my thing.
But no, he's just.
But she probably wears like a blue
wearing wool
tunic then or something.
I know.
Right?
I'm just saying, is this guy wearing armor?
She wasn't dressed yet.
Is this guy wearing the guy in the purple surcoat? Surcoat doesn't sound like armor. Is that guy maybe just not wearing armor?
It's not. It's a coat.
Exactly. So is he just the purple guy? So he's
I'm
the
sure
purple guy.
That's like his job. Like, all right, like you're the purple guy. Here's all your purple shit. Here's your purple tunic. Here's your purple.
I was just
coat.
saying that this isn't confirmation that his armor is purple. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's not purple. I was just saying that it's still a little ambiguous whether or not his armor is purple. But it seems like they have a color associated with them. Yes, I will agree with that.
I think it's badass.
I hope their capes are striped and not just like a rainbow drawn on the back.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like Power Rangers.
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah. You don't want to be. I mean, yellow one sounds kind of like. Yeah.
Yellow one was a hot girl back in the day, but Kimberly was the best pink. I always wanted to be red Rocky. Rocky was always better as the red one. Then they subbed in some nerd for red.
Wasn't black one? I wasn't a Power Ranger guy, but I had friends. I knew the pink one.
Kimberly.
I knew the pink one was the one that I really liked. I thought yellow was just kind of like. I mean, I don't know anything about Power Rangers, but I thought red and black were the ones you wanted to be.
I'll have to take a look, see what yellow was working with.
I might just be confused because we definitely had Glow weren't you one of those people in college that would wear Power Ranger morph suits a lot?
Yeah, Glow was his roommates for sure.
Yeah, the black one.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I mean, you see Yellow Ranger walking around, you're not saying no to her. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just saying, if you're the guy, you don't want to be the yellow.
She might say no to us.
I'm just saying, I don't think you want to be the yellow rainbow knight. She would definitely say no to us, at least me.
All right, so she walks in right past these two schmucks and
jabronis.
Yeah, and I need to talk. Fuck off, Kat. No one cares.
Brand's armor.
He promised that he would talk to her though.
Yeah, Kat, stay over there. We'll talk in a second.
Yeah. All we got inside, I think, is Tarly, Sam's dad, and Mathis Rowan.
Yep. And Brienne.
And Renly. Yep.
Brienne's armoring Renly. These two are talking battle plans. They want to attack now. Like, bullshit. Let's get after this motherfucker.
Yeah, so I feel like there's a lot of irony in this next conversation where he's like, let's attack now. And Renly's like, I'm not going to win. What's he say? Like, I will not have said I won which treachery. And it's like, yo, bro, guess what's about to happen to you, bro?
Do you think say he's like, all right, fuck it, let's go. Do you think he like gets out into the light enough that the shadow can't get him?
I don't know, dude.
You think there's a chance?
It's not dawn yet.
Does the shadow need?
Could
to be
he just
in
run away from the shadow?
The laws of the shadow?
Not really, but
what is the source of this shadow?
Yeah,
if
you're like, you know, what if you're like on stage with just like floodlights everywhere? It's impossible for a shadow to get to you.
maybe the shadow was just the shadow of this invisible thing that was in the middle of the room, getting its shadow cast on the wall. You know what I'm saying?
Like, true. Like Invisible Man or something like that.
Stannis is just wearing the Harry Potter invisibility cloak and cat.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Still casting that shadow on the wall. So I mean, maybe the shadow is not actually what killed him.
That makes more sense. Yeah,
it's the being that casts the shadow.
That makes more sense.
A little tidbit during the talk of the battle is Renly's like, all right, like if you find my brother, like don't butcher him up. Like he's still my blood. We need to bury him. I don't want to see his head paraded around camp later. And we get another name call. We get an old callback.
What he wants Barristan?
Yeah, he said if you find him, do no harm to him. We want him.
Yeah, and then this is a little callback.
He's a good dude.
This is one of the first things, maybe not one of the first things, but Renly and Kat definitely talked about this in the second cat chat, like the first time that they met, right? Like this was one of the things that Renly's like, oh, is he with you? Like this is on Renly's mind for sure.
Yeah, when she first showed up at Renly's.
Yeah. One thing right before that though is they're talking about don't let them, kind of like what Jeff was saying, don't let them like disrespect Stannis' corpse. And somebody's like, oh, but what if he yields? And Mathis just laughs at that, and he's like, when we were sieging the castle, Stannis ate rats rather than open his gate. He's not the kind of guy to yield. He's like, I remember, and Renly said, so I get this also, I didn't realize, I guess Renly was at the siege, like inside the castle during the siege.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, he had to be pretty young, I would think.
I feel like if you're in a siege, you should get just as much credit for the guy who, like, what did Stannis do that Renly didn't do during the siege? Like, Stannis gets a lot of credit. Like,
he was the Lord. Stannis was the Lord.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one who decided not to give up, right? Like, Renly might have been able to give up.
This is the problem of Renly being the third child and wanting to break out of the shadow. And this we kind of talked about this with the knights and like why would the second youngest brother, leave and go fight for anybody, the glory, because all the glory
goes to the eldest.
Right here as it is in hard print right here.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring that back up later.
Somebody said, I mean, Renly was probably 12.
That's true. Renly. Well, I mean, I don't know how much. I don't know the age difference, but yeah, he was definitely younger. So maybe they were taking it easy on him. Maybe he was getting the fatter rats or something. But they talk about like a little thing that happened in the siege. Renly says, I remember near the end, Sir Gawain Wild and 3 of his knights tried to steal out of a postern gate to surrender. Stannis caught them and ordered them flung from the walls with catapults. I can still see Gawain's face as they strapped him down. He had been our master at arms. Pretty
wild.
That's like if Bran's under siege and Roderick tries to sneak out with 3 cats and Bran straps Roderick to a fucking catapult. That's his master at arms from like his home castle.
Was he gonna quit? Come on.
Dude, I'm just saying that is like that's some crazy shit. That's some iron-fisted shit. Yeah. And then our old boy Maester Crescent, and because Rowan's like, wait a minute, nobody got flung out. And Renly's like, well, yeah, it's because your boy Maester Crescent told Stannis we might have to eat that guy. We might have to fucking eat that guy.
Don't be throwing food over the walls, boy.
So
that's some good meat right there. What are you doing, bro?
They kept him and he died in a cell, but luckily Davos showed up before it came to that. But yeah, I mean, I just think like that is crazy. That's like your own master at arms. I feel like that's like a uncle figure to you, basically.
I mean,
cold by Stannis.
Fling his ass over the wall. But they told him not to do that.
It just shows how hard-nosed Stannis is, and I think that's the point.
Well, I mean, how about the Maester then? Like, actually, we might need to eat them.
Crescent, that's our boy.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking wild too.
I know.
Like, hold on, save that body. We might need to eat his thigh for dinner tonight.
It just tells you how dire the circumstances is. Like we were in Crescent's head in the prologue. Like he's a sane dude. Like he's not crazy. Like, and if he's like, yo, this is something you should consider. It's just like, holy, that must have been a bad situation.
Which is kind of weird though, because just the Catelyn before this, they were saying like, oh, they have enough food in there to live. Like they lived through the siege, like they're fine. And here they were almost eating people anyway.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean?
Anyway, but
last chapter, I think they were saying like, Mathers Rowan was saying, Renly, we shouldn't do this fight. We should just march away. The guy who's in there right now has so much food, he would be fine for a very long time.
Yeah, but why wouldn't Storm's End always have that much food in there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, good point.
So, I mean, I guess that's what I'm saying, is that this situation was pretty dire if they're talking about eating people.
Or maybe they learned from their lessons.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Really stocked up on food and human meat.
And then finally, Catelyn gets her chance to talk here.
Yep.
She finally gets a word in about how, what was I going to say? About, the whole brand thing. Pretty much.
Yeah, because in the last Cat chapter, Renly, and I kind of said it, like, I think Renly didn't really care too much about this, but he said to Stannis, like, yes, it's a good claim, Stannis, but where's your proof? Mm-hmm. And Cat's like, yo, I might have, basically Cat's saying, like,
we have
an eyewitness. Yeah.
We have something.
Yeah.
I have proof. Let's call a huge what's council?
Great council.
Great council, yeah. Hasn't happened in over 100 years.
All three kings put their crowns aside, come together and do like a kind of a vote. Majority rules, like a draft almost, where it's like you pick whatever king you want and everybody's respectful to each other.
Yeah, and
I mean, there's just no chance that this would ever happen.
Kill the Lannisters.
Not at this level.
Well, I think I don't think that's 100% what Cat's going for. I think it's more of if once all this comes out, I'll be able to convince Robb, like, hey, the Lannisters,
hey, back down. We're cool.
Like,
the
Lannisters are done. Like, obviously, like this ends the Lannisters. If everyone finds out about this, right, it's 100% truth. It's just accepted by everybody except them. The Lannisters are done. Yep. So then Robb's like, okay, I have no problem. I'll go back north. I think what she's saying is I could convince him to say, I don't even care about King in the North. I'll go back to Lord in the North.
Do you really think at this point, though, Robb would just be like, nope, actually, I'm cool? Like, he's got people in his ear saying, like, no, like, this is you. Like, you're our king. You're our king. You're our king.
She said, let the assembled lords of the seven kingdoms choose who shall rule them. Mm-hmm. Which, to me, makes it seem like you could all be in charge or... Like, go back to the OG days of these seven kingdoms is what I think they would, is a possibility, Kyle. Like, each kingdom votes like, okay, we'll be under their rule. The Starks would be like, oh, we're gonna follow the Starks. You know what I'm saying? But then the Starks don't have to follow the Iron Throne? Yeah, they don't have to.
I thought they were like, all right, put up your person and then we'll all vote type of deal.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's kind of how I took it. And I thought that Cat was thinking more of I can convince Robb to just take himself out of the picture.
But I think she's wrong in thinking that. She already said in this chapter that Robb doesn't even want her around.
That's I guess why I didn't agree with that. Because I didn't think Robb would just bail on... I think Robb would have no problem with it, but I agree with what you guys are saying. I don't think it's something that's in Robb's cards because of the situation with his other lords. He's made commitments. I mean, he might be like cool with this idea, but he's like, but I'm throwing my name in the hat. Like, he's not just like going back to Winterfell and being a lord at this point. He's got the big dick of a king right now. He's ready.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, Riverrun follows them now too. Like, they're almost a part of the North. So this is kind of what I was saying. Like, is there enough time to even get this in motion at this point, like from the time that this shadow shows up? And B, even if Cat does like somehow stop this battle and go and talk to Stannis, does Stannis go for this? Like, if it's just up to a vote? Like, no shot. No one likes him. Exactly. He'd be like, fuck this. So like, I'll never win. And I think the reason Renly says no is basically because to him, Cat is proposing, hey, Robb's going to back out. We'll tell everyone the truth. And then we'll just go with what everyone thinks. And Renly's like... Let the chips fall where they may. And Renly's like, the chips fall in Stannis' lap because he's the older brother. Fuck that. Like, I'm going to fight. I got the bigger army right now. That's what I'm going to go with. Do direwolves vote for their... Do direwolves vote for their... Yeah. Just coming out. It's a great analogy. Yeah. I loved it. So the one thing I'm going to say before Glory's a quote is Brienne put on a big... Renly's armor is pretty badass. Super dark green, fringed with gold. His helmet... adds 18 inches of antler to his head. He's definitely hiding. He's definitely hiding he's hiding in the back. What do you mean? He's not fighting anybody. Yeah, exactly. He's doing he can't even fucking move. He's wearing like the hill pointing. Yeah. He's wearing like 80 pounds of fucking I think like cloth. Not alone his armor. In either the tourney or the Duncan Egg tourney, I think they said like
It was the Duncan Egg tourney. Like one of the Baratheons was knocking stupid things off people's helmets and throwing them into the crowd, and they were made of solid gold. So he was like one of the fan favorites, and now Renly is one of that guy's descendants wearing the stupid thing on his head. But yeah, I think it's kind of funny.
All right, Cleo.
I beg you, in the name of the mother.
Catelyn began when a sudden gust of wind flung open the door of the tent. She thought she glimpsed movement, but when she turned her head, it was only the king's shadow shifting against the silken walls. She heard Renly begin to jest, his shadow moving, lifting its sword, black on green, candles guttering, shivering. Something was queer, wrong, and then she saw Renly's sword still in its scabbard, sheathed still, but the shadow sword.
Cold,
said Renly in a small, puzzled voice, a heartbeat before the steel of his gorget parted like cheesecloth beneath the shadow of a blade that was not there. He had time to make a small, thick gasp before the blood came gushing out of his throat.
Your Grace, no!
Cried Brienne the Blue when she saw that evil flow, sounding as scared as any little girl. The king stumbled into her arms, a sheet of blood creeping down the front of his armor, a dark red tide that drowned his green and gold. More candles guttered out. Renly tried to speak, but he was choking on his own blood. His legs collapsed, and only Brienne's strength held him up. She threw back her head and screamed, wordless in her anguish. The shadow. Something dark and evil had happened here, she knew. Something that she could not begin to understand. Renly never cast that shadow. Death came in that door and blew the life out of him as swift as the wind snuffed out his candles.
So this, you guys just kind of put this together for me with the whole stranger, and like this definitely seems like the way she explains it, like it fits that stranger of the seven gods.
A black oval with starry eyes. That's all she really said.
I mean,
stranger,
it's just like shape shifting.
I mean, that's like one interpretation, right? The stranger is nothing really, right? It's nothing and everything at the same time.
The stranger's kind of like the god of death, which is why nobody really prays for it that much, right? But like it kind of what Kyle's saying kind of makes sense here, right? Like just in that representation, like it's like it means like death, and that's exactly what happens. It pops in and kills.
I mean, if you were to pick one of the seven that were in that room at that time, you would pick the stranger.
100%.
Yeah.
You wouldn't pick the maiden?
Nah, I don't think so. Brienne screams, and that just brings all the attention to the tent.
Yeah, so the Brienne screams. So yeah, they come rushing in. They is Robar and Emmon, which is funny because Emmon was just outside with somebody else.
Parman.
Yeah,
Parman. Yeah,
So
Parman.
That guy ran the other way.
That guy was like, yeah, fuck this. I
fucking
quit.
yellow. Yeah.
I'm fucking yellow. I'm getting out of here.
I'm good.
Cape. So yeah, they come running in.
My shift ended at 9. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Two more dudes come flying in.
Yeah, those two, and then there's two men at arms behind them. They see Brienne. Robar calls her a wicked woman. Emmon's like, get away from the king. Robar's like, what are you doing? Why? And Emmon picks up an axe off the ground and just charges her.
Which is stupid. Like, use your awareness a little bit.
Nobody else was
You don't
in
see
there.
the shadow?
There's
in
two
there?
people in there, Cat and Brienne.
Hold on. What's the weapon? What's the murder weapon?
Shut up, Jeff.
Dude, I don't know.
You're thinking way too practical.
What do you think?
The situation here.
No,
So what do you
I
think,
get it.
Jeff?
King is dead.
I
on
get
the
it.
floor.
I get it. You come in and you're like, holy shit, King's dead. And she's holding him, like caressing him. The only thing I'd say is like before you charge, you ask like, what the fuck happened? You could always fight her afterwards, but there's no weapon.
Emotions,
There's no
man.
fucking weapon.
Yeah.
They all have swords. There's a pile of
Why does
weapons at the door.
Robar not have any?
There's literally
They said he picked up the great axe from the pile of weapons stored at the door.
Okay, and all I'm saying is Robar didn't pick up a pile, one from the pile, and just start going ham on
That's true.
Brienne.
So this is kind of what I was saying. Brings me back to what I was gonna think, or what I was thinking earlier when Kyle said something about like the second and third son. When I was reading this, I'm like, why does Robar not attack like the rest of them? Like, why is he not just full in on this attack? And we don't know much about Robar, but there was a short conversation from the last chapter where he's saying exactly what Kyle was saying. He's like, I'm this third son. I got to find glory where I can. But that kind of makes him
A wild card?
like a hedge knight, I think, right? He literally just serves his sword.
Well, he is pretty much a hedge.
He's a hedge knight. He serves his sword whoever he thinks is loyal, right? And what's Dunk say? Like what Dunk says in the Duncan Egg thing is a hedge knight serves the realm, right? He's the truest kind of knight because he can do what's right. He's not loyally blind to any lord.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And because I think Robar kind of falls into that category. I think that's why he's not as headlong in here. Right. Emmon is a rainbow guard. I mean, so is Robar.
So is Robar. It's stupid.
And we don't know. Like Emmon might. It seems like these other two guys. I don't think they're very high ranking. Like they're not sons of lords, right? They might be. I don't think they're sons of lords. I think Emmon actually is a lord or might become a lord. I'm not sure, but he's up there.
Well, good thing Cat only hits him with the brazier and he doesn't die.
But you know what I'm saying? Like I think like Robar Hedge Knight, he choose his own.
I mean, wasn't he the one that was also saying no, that wasn't him, to leave? Who said to leave and just like let Stannis sort itself out?
Manderly, maybe,
I think that was Mathis Rowan.
Yeah,
that was Mathis Rowan. Yeah, that was one of the older. Like
Rowan.
The only thing I remember about him is that Kat remembers that he used to meet with Hoster at Riverrun, which makes me think he's like older, wiser, not as like Renly Loras, like headstrong.
Here is that maybe just Robar is just a little the calmer of them.
That's also
I
also
still
possible.
don't think that they overreacted that much because
truly, I could obviously if you put 10 people in there, at least 6 are doing what Emmon's doing. But hindsight 2020, maybe you just look to see if she actually fucking had a bloody sword or something.
And
she was covered in blood at that point anyway.
Screaming her head off, crying.
Okay, all right. This is what. So like, if you came into a room and someone was like doing CPR on a person that was dying, you wouldn't be like, "You fucking killed them."
Yeah, you're right. I mean, unless it's Dwight Schrute doing CPR and the dummy, he's got his face on,
and he's got the knife like carving his face off.
Clarice.
That's not considered CPR, I don't think.
That's all I'm saying. Is like she is like bawling her eyes out, holding this guy, cherishing his last fucking breaths, and he's like, "You murderer!" Like I don't know. I just don't see it.
It was simpler times, Jeff. That's what I'm
sure.
trying to say.
But if it was her standing over him with a bloody sword, like obviously that would scream to you like, "Go fight this girl." But he's probably jealous of her because she is a Rainbow Guard too, and she's a woman, and blah blah blah. Now he's dead.
Well, and to your point, after one, because there's 3 of them that attack her, right? Both Men at Arms and him. But after one guy goes, Brienne's quick to defend herself, which makes her look guilty in the eyes of the other ones, right? She's not saying like I didn't do it. She's literally just trying to kill this guy. Like all of a sudden she's trying to kill.
Well, I mean, the dude was trying to kill her. You got to defend yourself.
But like you could be saying like I didn't do this. She's literally just like, okay, I'm in fight mode now.
Well, I mean, she really didn't. She had to unsword Renly's sword just to block the axe.
That's badass. So we're jumping a little bit ahead, but that's basically what's happening, right? He comes in, he fires her. When she pulls his sword, she like tosses Renly's body aside. Cat says like
and like his like head like flops over
because so he got stabbed through the back of the neck or through the front of the neck. He got stabbed in the neck, like right here. Yeah, right in the neck.
But that's why I didn't get the second mouth. I was like, what?
The gorget is the piece of armor that covers from your breastplate to your helmet. So like he the way where he gets stabbed in the quote is through the gorget or whatever you say it. And that's
in the neck.
That's the neck armor.
Gorget.
So anyway, Brienne holds her own. Bucks up a couple of these dudes. We talked about it before. Cuts some hands off. Dude goes down. His hand goes limp. Like, I mean, she might have killed a couple of these guys. Meanwhile, Kat is in the background having a conversation with Robar. You know, like, look,
nice calm conversation.
Like, I was here. It was a shadow. Like, I swear, it was Stannis. Is what she says.
The name was on her lips before she could think how it got there, but as she said it, she knew it was true. I swear it, you know me, Stannis killed him.
I mean, does she? She really just pulls that out of her fucking ass.
Yeah, there's a lot of hearsay in this trial.
Like, what?
Yeah, but I mean, who else wanted Renly this dead? I think Stannis was a good bet.
So she talks about it a little bit towards the end. Stannis definitely benefits the most from this, right? In terms of hard evidence that Stannis is behind it,
sure,
you have very heavy motive. But besides that, I mean, you have Cat's.
Well, the big thing is she puts it on her Stark honor. Well, you can't fucking lie now. I believe it.
She explains that it was sorcery, a shadow with a sword, and that Brienne obviously loved him, which she had said last chapter or chapter 2. I thought she was going to fight Loras over it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was pretty evident.
Yeah.
Like, she needs help. This obviously wasn't her. It couldn't have been her. She has zero motive.
Yep.
I swear on my honor, on Ned's grave, and my honor as a Stark. And that was it. That's all it took.
Robert's like, I believe you now.
But again, I think it's got to be the hedge knight where like doesn't feel, again, as a Rainbow Guard, maybe he should, but he doesn't feel as like blindly committed to Renly as some of the other people.
Yes.
But yeah, so by now, so we didn't mention it, but when Brienne cuts off the guy's arm,
she knocks the candle down.
The torch that he was holding goes flying, and is now by this point has lit up the tent on fire.
Well, he doesn't one throw it at her.
So it said he hit her. I think it said it hit her in the back, and then she turned.
But her cloak was blood soaked, so it didn't burn.
I think what it says is she was hit with a torch in the back, and when she turned and cut, and torch in hand both went flying, which makes me think that like the guy. I thought he threw it too, but Jeff, until I read that second line, I think he literally just like hit her in the back with it, like he's holding it like a club,
like trying to catch the
cloak on
fire.
Exactly, yeah. So now this thing, the whole tent's going up. And basically, Kat knocks over
a brazier,
hits Emmon in the head, and
knocks his ass out.
Brienne, let's go! And she like just slits open a
tent
hole
wall
in the tent, and they just hop out.
And then just walk through the crowd like
into the night.
Everyone's rushing in because
it's like the Joker.
On fire.
It's like the Joker getting the school bus just in line with the rest of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Just sneaking on up.
We didn't do it.
Yeah,
yeah. Just. Everyone's running in. She's running out. Act natural. She tells Brienne, we can't run. We just got to walk. We'll be good. She hears people talking about fire and murder and sorcery. Some people are huddled together. Some people are praying. There's one guy crying.
Yeah. This is where we get the missed quote, too.
This is crazy how fast this sorcery gets out here.
Well,
yeah.
She said that inside the tent, that nobody else would have thought it was sorcery.
So the thing is, I was thinking that too, and I just think it's kind of like how when Robert died, and we hear rumors of how Robert died, it's like, oh, Ned killed him, Renly, like Stannis killed, like there's just so many different rumors.
People just like every way of death gets mentioned.
This is 2 minutes after it happened.
I'm just saying, I bet you we've heard sorcery as a cause of death for Robert as well. Like and again, nobody ever said that was real. I think people just jump to that when things happen.
Okay,
like the tent, they don't even know anybody's dead.
Might be screaming it outside the tent, like it wasn't them, it was sorcery. Someone killed them.
That's what I'm saying. But they're passing people going the other way that are talking about it.
I thought this was just a proof that like rumors spread faster than information. It's like that. Yeah. There's literally like talk of things. Yeah.
Already things going around.
That's kind of how I read it too, because I thought the same thing too. Like, how could Robar have told anybody by now that got past where they are? But again, we don't know how far. Like, this could be like a 10-minute walk for Kat. We're not 100% sure. But yeah, do we get this? Basically, she's looking at she's like
Storm's End now, right?
She's thinking like Renly's fucked. She's like, even now, I can tell that like this rumor mill, just people running around talking about what's happening, is already putting like his battle ranks in disarray. And if I look to the east, the sky is getting lighter. It's about to be dawn, like, and these guys are not ready for what's coming. And she thinks about this, like she sees the mist coming up on the field, gives the old Nan quote,
running away back to it, ghosts running back to the grave.
Morning Throners,
morning ghosts,
going back to their grave.
Morning Ghosters.
now Renly is one of
our rival pod, the Morning Ghosters.
Exactly.
Fuckers.
Now Renly is one of the Morning Ghosts along with Robert and Ned. Yep.
They get back to the North Camp.
Brienne says something really sad first. She says,
I never held him, but as he died.
She never held Renly except for as he died, which is just like, God damn it, this girl was head over heels for this guy.
Fuck off, Brienne.
Whoa.
And she's like, what? And Brienne was like,
this is when she drops the Stannis bomb again.
Yeah, well, because Brienne was in the middle of armoring him. So, like, she potentially, like, I guess, didn't really even see anything. And
yeah, she had no idea. She's like, well, what even fucking happened? He just, like, died, essentially.
I mean, it's just crazy. I feel like she had to have seen something, or, like, how is she so 100% in on Stannis immediately?
Because he's the one who wanted him dead, right?
I mean, she was right next to him. She could have been, like, at his side. I don't know.
I just thought it was weird. If she didn't see anything, like, why does she, like, okay, I believe it's sorcery, but, like, no follow-up, like, why do you think it was Stannis type thing? Just, okay, yes, I'm going to kill him. Like, okay, yes, I'm going to kill him no matter, yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. Motive, like we said.
Yeah. All right, so they get back, and Hallis Mullen, Mr. Obvious, right?
Yeah, I don't think he says anything too obvious here, does he?
The whole camp's going crazy.
Does he say that?
Like, yeah, no shit. We just walked through it.
And Wendell's all fired up, Mr. Gossip Boy. He's excited to see what's going on. And he's like, is the king dead? And looks at Brienne, who's absolutely drenched in blood. And Kat's like, yeah, he's dead. But it wasn't us. Trust us.
What about the battle?
We got to get going.
I was here. I wanted to watch the fight.
Yeah, she's like, that shit's over.
She mounts up. We got Wendell to the left, Sir Perwyn Frey to the right. And she's like, Brienne, grab a horse. We got plenty extra. She's like, no, I got to go back for my own horse and my armor. And Kat's like, are you a fool? We were the only two with the king when he died. We got to go. And Brienne's like, oh, shit, okay. So Brienne mounts up and they head out. As the long fingers of dawn fanned across the fields, color was returning to the world. Where gray men had sat, gray horses armed with shadowed spears, the points of 10,000 lances now glinted silvery cold. On the myriad flapping banners, Catelyn saw the blush of red and pink and orange, the richness of blues and brown, the blaze of gold and yellow, all the power of Storm's End and Highgarden, the power that had been Renly's an hour ago. They belong to Stannis now, she realized, even if they do not know it themselves yet. Where else are they to turn, if not the last Baratheon? Stannis had won all with a single evil stroke. I am the rightful king, he had declared, his jaw clenched as hard as iron. And your son no less traitor than my brother here. His day will come as well. A chill went through her.
Dun, dun, dun. Come get your ass, Rob.
I will say, call back to Jeff from the last podcast, when Kat was like, you two are acting like children, I should bang your heads together. That's when Stannis said this to Kat. And now she's regretting it. And I kind of defended Kat, saying like she's right. And Jeff's like, yeah, but you don't fucking say that to these guys. Now Kat's starting to see things Jeff's way instead of my way.
Mm-hmm.
So Kyle, where does Catelyn go from here?
I mean, this doesn't look good for Rob. Like, there's this weird ass shadow that kills people. Like, I mean, he's obviously got something going for him, right? But I think he's more focused on the throne currently. So I think King's Landing is first.
I mean, that would make sense too, right? Like if Rob is battling the Lannisters up north, like, all right, let me just take this little piece here. Like y'all keep weakening
really
yourself.
This is all about, right? Is him being king.
Exactly. Getting rid of Rob now helps the Lannisters more than anything. Like you want to take over before you squash rebels. Don't squash the rebels for the person who's in charge right now. So yeah, I agree with you. It makes sense. Go definitely for King's Landing next.
And that's been his main goal. So we'll see.
Do you think
Tyrion's going to whip him with this giant chain all the way from King's Landing or something? I don't know.
Do you think Kat's right here? All these banners go to Stannis?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
I don't know if they all do, but I think he definitely grabs a chunk of them. Like, why wouldn't they? Maybe the super south dudes don't care too much about him, but
yeah.
All right.
We'll see you guys in the next non-spoiler with John 4, and we'll see the rest of you guys in the spoiler section for this one.
See you, y'all. It's great hanging out, bud. We'll see you on the next episode for John 4.
Later, nerds.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
See you later, Cal. It was great hanging out, bud.
Bye,
we'll see you on the next episode for John 4. But now, on to the spoiler section of Cat 4. Boys, what are your hot takes for this episode?
I'm coming in hot real quick. Nels, I don't know if you're ready for it. Glow's definitely not.
Ned's gods. The gods answer Ned.
For sure. One.
That's what you were going to say? Is that what you were going to say?
No, it's not, but it's definitely one of them. We'll get to that.
We'll go back to that one. What were you going to say?
Stranger just makes me think of Quaithy.
Dude, Star Eyes, 100%.
Star Eyes. Quaithy.
Does she have star eyes?
So they talk, like, she always says that, like, like in Dany's dreams, like the whispering, Dany hears like the whisperings of the stars and like things like that. And like there's a lot of imagery that like Quaithy visits Dany.
I don't even have any proof. I was just like, this reminds me of Quaithe. Like, yeah, because she like wears the mask, right? And you can only see her eyes.
Yep.
And
they're starry eyes.
I don't know.
There's definitely a ton of star symbolism with Quaithe, and especially how she like approaches Dany. Like her mask was made of starlight, like in like maybe one of Dany's dreams or something like that. Like when later in Dance of Dragon. Again, I'm not. These are not. I don't know if these are 100% quotes, but I 100% see where you're coming from.
So Quaithe is a part of the 7.
I mean, if you're saying stranger, right? Like kind of like I was saying, stranger is like a lot of death.
Stranger could be like the faceless man.
Like the way
right?
the way I see stranger is kind of like the Grim Reaper, right? It's almost like that kind of like if you had these gods in our world, the Grim Reaper is like the stranger basically. Yeah. And nobody prays to him.
I mean, the faceless men basically do.
They pray to everybody, and again, the only time I could think to like lighting a prayer to like, I don't want to say this when Kyle is there, but like we'll hear like in the Sansa chapter when she goes to the set before the Battle of the Blackwater, there's 1 million candles under the warrior, and there's a bunch under the father, and there's a bunch under the mother, and a few under all the other ones, and like 2 under the stranger. Like the stranger never gets any love. Is that just like 2 old people just like hoping to die? You know how like the people always... Exactly. I'm kind of thinking like
somebody wishing somebody's dead.
Exactly. Like I hope Stannis dies, or I was thinking kind of more like what Jeff was saying, like more of like what we see in the show and like in the I guess in the book too of like the House of the Undying. People who come to the house, like there's the one in the show, the guy comes with his daughter, right? The guy comes to the House of the Undying with his daughter, and he's like, I've tried everything, I've spent all my money, I have nothing I can do for her. And Arya like gets her to drink the water, and she dies. That guy's praying for death for his daughter, for a peaceful death for his daughter.
Yeah,
isn't the House of the Undying the Warlock's house?
You're right. I'm sorry, not the House of the Undying.
The House of Black and White.
In the House of Black and White. You're right, Cliff. My bad.
All right, let's spin this into my next point. The gods were changing faces.
I had that one too. I didn't think you were gonna have that one. The torchlight was changing the faces of the gods. There's like one line pretty early on that gives me Arya vibes, right? Is what you're thinking?
Well, it's just like giving me like faceless men. Like it's just callbacks to like other shit that we know is going to become relevant. Like like Arya, the last Arya chapter, she was seeing faces like in her sleep, right? So now like Cat seeing faces in the shadows and fire and shit. What
I was thinking, there's a line where it says like, oh, in the wind made the torchlight thing and all the shadows shifted and faces changed. And Arya is going to be a face changer. Like, that's what she does. She just changes. She looks like different people. Right. That's kind of what I was getting from the face changer thing, was more of like what's going to happen with Arya in terms of like she's actually going to be a face changer, just like all these all these gods are. They're just one person, now another person, now another person. It's going to be kind of what Arya does. Yeah.
I got one small note here. Let me find it again, actually. I'm on the wrong page. It's when Catelyn's thinking, or she's at the warrior and she sees, who is it? Renly and Stannis, Robb and Robert. And the only 2 people she says their surnames for are Jaime Lannister and Jon Snow.
Okay.
And they're the only 2 that are still, quote unquote, alive by the end of the 5th book.
Wow.
The Warriors. I like it.
Do they stay alive throughout because of that? Not because of that, but like, is that a hint towards it?
I just feel like it's not often that Kat mentions Jon.
In any light?
At least in a non-negative light. This is definitely not negative. It's not positive.
I mean, she calls him a warrior. Like, why would she ever why would she even like consider him? Like, I feel like she's just been waiting for him to leave. Like, he's finally left and now she's thinking about him. It's a little goofy to me.
Well, is she thinking about him or just seeing him?
Yeah, maybe she honestly saw his face in the shadow.
Yeah, maybe.
So let's go back to the thing that we were saying at the beginning. When she's thinking like, she just prayed to the mother, and she's like, oh, it's so quiet here. I can hear Robar and Wendell outside, and there's not even crickets or any wind. My gods aren't answering me. She's like, Ned, do your gods answer you? Do they hear you? Do they answer you? We kind of said a little bit in the non-spoiler section. Osha says like, oh, that's your gods answering you, boy, the wind. But in Dance of Dragons, Bran is in the Weirwoods, sees Ned praying to the gods, and Bran tries to speak to him, and Ned like turns and says like, oh, who is that? Again, so this kind of goes back to the time traveling Bran stuff I've been saying. People don't know if Bran can go back in the Weirwoods and affect the past. Based on just what we have in the books, it's ambiguous because he does it once or twice with Ned, where he's like trying to talk to Ned, and Ned like turns, but like, oh, did Ned turn because of Bran, or did he turn because of something else? It's ambiguous.
There's a twig out there. Yeah.
But what the main premise of time traveling Bran is, because the show showed the Hodor thing, and they said this is from George, that proves that Bran can go that Bran is the one that Ned's hearing
affecting
there.
time. Yeah, which I mean,
even affecting time.
He turns.
There's no point to dig deep into the time traveling Bran thing. I feel like we've been doing that a lot lately. But like, just in terms of he's able to do stuff in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So when Kat says, "Do your gods hear you?"
Absolutely.
Do they answer you? Yes and yes. We know that Bran, in terms of like, is Bran the god? I don't know. Like that's a different question. But like that's basically what they're praying to.
I mean, I truly believe in it from Osha. Like,
Osha was able to decipher it,
right? And she was not wrong. She's not wrong, right? He's going the wrong way. Yeah, he fucking was, because he might have went north and survived, or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe not for long once we fight the whatever's up there, but she at least, like, she's interpreting, and I'm sure the Seven do too. Like, that's why they're septons, right? They're not fucking like, oh, that's a sign of the mother. Like, be merciful. Like, I'm sure they can do it too, and I'm sure she believes it, right? But she's just not getting an answer right now because she's fucking alone in a room.
Yeah.
But to her point of her prayer, a lot of it is pretty fucking answered.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So, like, God's, like, that's one thing, like, I know you've said before, religion's not
when you're
a
saying,
big...
When you're saying, like, it's answered quickly, you mean, like, kind of like what you're saying, where you're like, I pray for, like, very few brothers, or very few sons to be killed. And pretty much the minimal amount of sons are killed. She got what she prayed for.
But even in, like, the next prayer, too, let me just find it. I just found it really quickly, too. It was meant to be. She knelt before the smith who fixed things that were broken and asked that he give her sweet Bran his protection. He just found Mira and fucking jraijin. Like, he's traveling to the worst part of the world and gets to his destination. Like, maybe they don't really protect him that much, but I mean, he's guided. He's protected and guided by Mira. He's protected by Mira and guided by jraijin. And Hodor. And
Hodor.
You probably didn't see this, but the Time Traveling Bran video, that's a series that the guy's putting out.
Yeah.
And he just released the 5th one. It's not finished. The 5th one just came out. There's one more that's going to come out. In the 5th one, he proposes that Bran, which I think we proposed in a previous spoiler section based on his theory, if Bran's a three-eyed raven, and jraijin tells Bran, the first time the three-eyed raven came to me was when I was a child, then that's Bran going to visit jraijin as well. Right? So Bran goes to visit himself, he goes to visit jraijin. Maybe Bran visits jraijin so that, because what happens when jraijin tells his dad about the three-eyed raven and the winged wolf and stuff?
He tells him he has to go, right?
Yeah, he's like, get the fuck out of here, bro.
I don't want to spoil it too much, but basically we hear in Dance of Dragons that the back door of the three-eyed raven's cave is through a sinkhole.
Okay.
Which makes you think, to get out, you're going to have to be able to climb.
Right. And how's Hodor going to hold the door?
So again, people don't think it's actually going to be hold the door. It's going to be Hodor, Bran warred into Hodor, fighting off whites as a knight. Right. But how does he either get out if say they're at the bottom of the sinkhole, how does he get out of it? How does Bran climb out of it? And then how does Bran say they have to go down the sinkhole? How does he get back in? So Bran needs two things. He needs somebody to hold the door. This is the whole premise of the 5th Time Traveling Bran video. Say Bran has done this whole thing before without Hodor, without Mira. Somehow he gets to the three-eyed raven, right? Yeah. Through cold hands and everything.
And he gets stuck down there.
He gets stuck. So what's he do? He's like, okay, I need to do this again, go back in time, do this all again, do it with Hodor this time. Oh, fuck, now how do I climb this wall? Well, it turns out there's actually multiple references of Mira being a good climber.
Yeah.
Right.
So also, what's it called? Comes in. What is it?
When summer comes in, they climb the tree.
Climbs the tree right away.
She climbs the wall when they get to. She does like some rickety stone stairs, but she climbs the wall when they get to the wall. She tells jraijin, I could climb down the wall on the other side myself with just a rope, but I can't get you guys down.
She's absurd. I mean, that's crazy.
She's a 16-year-old girl. She thinks she can climb down a 700-foot ice wall with just a rope. She's a good climber. Which goes back to what's Bran all about? What are Bran's two things that he loves doing? Knights and climbing. Climbing and being a knight.
Yeah.
Hodor's the knight, and Mira climbs him out of the hole. So, like, why is Bran's whole mentality about climbing and knights? Because that's what he need. That's what he had
That's how he needs to get out of the
time
hole.
traveled back into his old self, and he's like, "This is what we're gonna need to get out of the hole." Type thing. Exactly. That's kind of what. That's again. I'm not doing the videos justice. I'm not doing the videos justice, but you see where those threads go. That's what the time traveling brand videos are about. I 100% recommend checking those out. They're super awesome.
All right,
super off track for this though.
But even more to this prayer, she went to the maid and beseeched her to lend her courage to Arya and Sansa. Both of them are pretty fucking courageous in what's going on with them and where they're about to go.
And there's another thing besides courageous. Keep going.
To guard them in their innocence.
So like
they're both maids.
Maid innocence. They're both maids. Sansa
is about to get married and keeps
is at risk about this, right? But she gets married and keeps her innocence anyway. She's still innocent at where we are in the books now.
To the Father, she prayed for justice. Purple wedding's coming at some point.
So no, what I got for this one was in the last chapter when she's like, Renly, please, if you're not gonna let me leave, at least give me leave to go and pray.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay, I will. And she's like, you should pray too. Right. And he's like, what, for victory? And she's like, no, for wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's kind of what she's praying to the Father for here. Give me the strength to seek justice and the wisdom to know it. Right. Which is when like Renly and
the wisdom
Stannis,
to know it. I gotcha.
The way that I took that was like when Renly and Stan in the last cat chapter also, Stannis says like, I promise you justice. Like when I take King's Landing, I'll give you justice. And what's Cat think? She's like, all these kings love to give me heads. Mm-hmm. Like love to promise heads, but that's not what I want.
Well, it's not about you, Cat. So fuck off.
Well, I think the whole father thing here is the wisdom, the strength to go after justice, and the wisdom to know what justice even is.
What actually is?
Because I don't think just killing everybody is justice. It's kind of what Cat's is.
That's
where
true.
Cat's at.
No, and that's right.
Let me know what justice really is at this point, and then give me the strength to go after that.
All right, moving on to the next prayer, which I don't know.
Real quick, she then asks the crone for wisdom on how to go to the correct path, and I don't think she takes the correct path. Yeah, well,
there's one more even before that. So the warrior to keep Robb strong and shield him in battles. He doesn't keep his dickhead strong because he fucking goes after.
Well, he is strong in battles, though.
He's strong in battles, but he's not. It's strong, and like I feel like it's almost like strong, and shield him in battles. Maybe it's strong and shield, but he's shielded in battles for sure. He does really well, right? But he fucking flounders in his.
Not mentally strong.
He's not mentally strong enough for this deal.
But also.
And they get us into the Crown Glow.
I mean, she takes the wrong path a bunch of times. She lets Jaime free and all this.
She is the worst. She ruins it. She ruins everything.
Yep. Exactly. So that was just my point.
My next quote is, I think there's a part where she says like, I think it's when she's like, Glow, you read it, I think, in the podcast. She's like, I lost my daughters. Robb hates me. Ned's dead. I need that quote.
I have come so many thousands of leagues, and for what? Who have I served? I have lost my daughters. Robb does not want me, and Brandon Rickon must surely think me a cold and unnatural mother.
Oh, that's a good one.
Stoneheart, right?
Stoneheart, bitch.
That's a good one.
Cold and unnatural mother.
I didn't have that one. That's a good one.
Brandon and Rickon have not seen Cat since she left Winterfell. They will not see Cat.
Ever.
If they do, it will be as Lady Stoneheart.
That's dope.
I thought that was a Stoneheart one for sure.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Next one I had was when she's thinking about Cersei.
Yeah.
She could see the proud, cold, lovely features of the Lannister queen etched upon the wall. The crack was still there. Even the crack, she was saying, makes somebody cry.
Yep.
Even Cersei could weep for her children. Cersei does a lot of weeping for her children.
She's been bawling for her children.
Yeah.
There's got to be something with her seeing Lysa first. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, why?
Well, Lysa with Cersei's eyes, meaning like Lysa is a conniving bitch doing backstabbing shit.
That's true. So the only connection between Lysa and Cersei I see is in this chapter, Cat finally links Cersei to Jon Arryn's death.
Okay.
Right? Why? Because Jon Arryn learned. But that's not really what happened. Lysa killed Jon Arryn. So that's the only thing where I can see that Cat is confusing Lysa and Cersei and the murder of Jon Arryn. It was Lysa, and she sees Cersei. Right? Yeah. The murderer was, if you like, isn't that the very next thing that happens too? Like she sees, Lysa wait, it's Cersei.
Yeah.
Jon Arryn died because of this. If you
Yeah.
just don't have that Cersei jump, then she's right. Lysa, Jon Arryn died because of this. You're right.
Which makes her just the worst again because she was wrong.
Yeah, that's the only thing that that's the only well, I'm just saying that's the only thing that I think that Lysa.
Yeah. It was just goofy. Like, why bring her up for nothing? But I mean, there's nothing, right? It's never nothing. I'm getting tired of this Stark's honor and just people believing them because she puts it on the Stark name. Like, bitch, shut up.
Has that happened before?
Yeah, I mean, come on. They've always brought up like, come on, Ned's such a good person. Like, he would never dishonor anybody.
Well, that's different. I think there's a difference between Stark honor and people when they're like, yo, no, Ned said this. People are like, okay, I believe you.
Yeah, but Ned's also
around.
running around with a bastard.
But if someone's like, oh, yo, Rickon said this, they're not gonna be like, oh, Stark's honor must be right. You know what I mean? Like it's like, okay,
I don't know.
Rickon, not Ned.
If he would have said,
even if like back in the day, if Brandon would have told somebody something like Ned's brother, people would have been like, yeah, but it's Brandon. Like Brandon fucks every whore in town. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. Take it with a grain of salt.
I don't know.
I think that's more of a Ned thing than a Stark thing.
I don't think it's a big spoiler, but I'm just like, stop fucking just thinking you guys are the fucking best people ever.
They are, though.
No, they're not. Cat
They're
sucks.
the best people ever.
If the Starks are the best people, they're the good guys. Is Stannis the bad guy?
No, there's a bunch of... They're all good guys.
What do you mean? If in this chapter, if there's a good guy and a bad guy, and you're saying Rob's the good guy, how are Lannisters the bad guy in this chapter? Stannis uses a shadow to murder his brother.
Lannisters also still push a child out the window and then try to kill him while he's in bed.
I'm not saying Lannisters aren't bad. I'm just saying it's a gray area, and that includes the Starks.
Whoa. Who's bad in the Stark book?
Cat releases Jaime. Rob marries Jean Westerling. They all fuck up.
Those aren't evil deeds, though.
Marrying Jane Westerling leads to more death than this.
Is that evil?
It leads to more death than what Stannis did. Stannis killed maybe 10 people with his act. Rob marrying Jean kills half the Stark army.
Yeah, but he did it out of love, not out of
The
evilness.
path to hell is paved with good intentions, Glow.
I don't think he had good intentions. He was just like, hey, I want to bang this bitch. It's not good.
I know the quote doesn't quite fit there, but I'm just saying the point is Stannis has bad intentions, and the moral outcome is better than Rob's indifferent intentions.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
I don't know who's the bad guy and the good guy. I think they're all. There's no good and bad. It's all a scale.
Same with Ned. Could Ned have gone more evil route, right, when he first learned of the incest, and just like either captured or killed Cersei and the children? That's really all you have to do. Kill them and you're good. Could Ned have done that? If so, how many lives are spared? Does that make it the right thing to do?
I mean, there's still probably a war.
I mean,
Tywin's just not fucking chilling, but I bet it's going to be 6 kingdoms on 7-ish type of thing.
Stannis has King's Landing already. Renly's probably on his side. It's just everybody versus Lannisters, maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe it's not that simple, but
yeah, I don't. Yeah, all right.
Incest, monstrous sin, abominations. Anything on that?
Well, I'm sure you're thinking of the Lyanna and why he got sent to the wall.
Brandon's Bennett. It's not what I'm thinking.
Lyanna.
Abomination sent his ass to the wall.
I'm thinking of Gilly's baby.
He's an abomination.
He's an abomination.
My girl calls him
an
abomination. A monster.
Val. I don't think the wildlings are big fans of
abominations either,
because the old gods see it the same way as the new gods.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just as bad to the wildlings. That's kind of where I went with this. The thing is, I feel like Val is more against Shireen than against. I think they call him Little Monster, right?
She says it in like an endearing tone.
Because they don't name the babies.
Isn't he like sucking on her tit like really hard though?
Val's? No, Val's not a wet nurse.
Wet nurse, no.
That I think like they call him Little Monster because the wildlings don't name their children until they're 5 years old because they're most likely going to die before then anyway. So that
that's fucking morbid.
It's super morbid, but they don't give them names, so I think they just say call him Little Monster or something like that. And
They call him Little Monster, yeah.
But
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like they don't super mistreat Gilly's baby. At least if they do, I don't remember it. But
No,
They
I'm
keep-
gonna
They
keep an
keep
eye out.
Gilly's baby, right? They keep Gilly's baby up
They
north.
send
send the new king of the north down with Gilly and Sam.
exactly. They swap
King
them.
beyond the wall.
Yeah, which makes me wonder, like, when they find out it's Gilly's baby, are they going to be like, "Oh, this thing's an incest baby. Who gives a fuck? Burn
Let's
it
just
anyway."
burn it. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
burn
not.
that.
I don't know.
Burn.
But that's
Burn
kind of
Little Monster.
that's the only thing that I thought about when I thought incest. The only other thing I think about when abominations is I know that they say that skin changers who I think
Warg
they say that
into a
skin
human.
changers who warg into a human eat human flesh
Yeah.
or mate while they're in their animal's skin.
Brand's an abomination.
Brand's an abomination.
Yeah.
He's done 2 of those things. Yeah, he's eaten
He's
human
probably
skin
going to
and
do the
warged
third
into
at some
Hodor.
point.
The last thing I had, and I didn't even realize that it might be a nothing. We were kind of talking about it. So we were saying, like, could this shadow exist with all these lights? And I don't know. I think this has to be in the book. But there's a quote that Melisandre tells Davos in the show that do you know what I'm saying?
With no light, well, you need light for shadow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like without shadows.
I mean, if
cast the
anything,
light.
like the sun would actually help. You would need like pitch darkness for no
exactly.
shadow.
Could you blurt out? So what happens when when Renly dies? What's happening? All these candles are
The
fluttering
candles
out.
go out.
And then when Robar Royce and the other Rainbow Clark Emmon come in with the two master at arms or men at arms, they have torches. So does that mean it gets completely dark inside the tent once Renly dies? And that's how the shadow goes from being right there to being gone, is because we go from having light to having no light. Because there's a quote in there that says the shadow killed Renly as fast as the wind gutted out his candles or something like that.
That makes sense.
But I was just thinking
that was
'cause
his
there's a
way
quote
of just
that-
getting out of there. Like, I'm gonna kill it, knock out the candles, and be
exactly
gone.
kill him, kill the candles, and the shadow's gone because without light, there's no shadow.
I mean, to be honest, like he said, dawn, right? So he needed
there was a Dawn quote in here too.
maybe he needed some dawn light to get the shadow moving from
that
where
makes sense.
she had Shadow Baby to the tent, right? Like,
the other thing is in the show, right? When this happens in the show, this is a lot different than the books. Maybe not a lot different. I mean, I feel like the scene's similar. Two big differences. One, in the show, Renly is agreeing to what Kat is proposing.
yeah,
Maybe not the whole way, but he is saying like, okay, I'll make a deal with Rob, at least. Is kind of what Renly's saying. So it makes him seem less of a dick, right? Renly's basically here saying, no way, fuck you, I'm going to win because I have a bigger army. I
yeah.
don't give a fuck. And then he dies. Which makes him a little bit like, who gives a fuck?
It's way
this guy kinda
cooler
got what he had coming.
seeing
In the
the
show,
shadow.
he's like, okay, I'll help you. Dead. Which makes him be like, oh no, that was our chance. Which is why the show did it, but whatever. The other thing in the show is, in the show
shadow's cooler.
in the show, you get the scene with Davos
Yeah,
before
rowing the
this
boat.
scene.
Yeah. I wish we had the chapter before this.
So I think I told you this before. That chapter is a chapter.
It's an
But it's a
epilogue
chapter.
there, right? Or
No,
is
it's
it?
a chapter. It's maybe
It's
the
like
next Davos
recall?
chapter. It's probably pretty soon.
I would
but who
hope
he's-
it's pretty soon. It's after, right? It's him talking
No,
about
no.
what happened.
No. He rose. There's one more person that gets killed with a shadow baby. It doesn't happen in the show. Stannis' whole point of being here wasn't to kill Renly. It was to take Storm's End and get the bastard inside. And as Mathis Rowan said in the last chapter, we could walk away right now and he still can't do anything to get inside Storm's End. There's so much food in there.
Yeah.
So Stannis came and took over Renly, but he still is no closer to getting inside Storm's End.
Dude, I'm just paging through and I don't see Davos for a while.
Really?
I haven't found him yet.
I mean, Davos is the next time we hear about basically what's happening with Stannis. So, you know what? I have it in my notes.
It's Jon, then Tyrion, Arya, Catelyn.
Jeez.
We got Jon, Bran, Tyrion, Theon, Arya, Catelyn, Daenerys, Tyrion, Davos.
So like 6 chapters from now, right?
And in that Davos will be rowing in the Shadow Baby. And then it has
In
to
the
be another
Storm's End?
Davos. The next Davos chapter is Davos with Stannis. Oh, no. You know what? I'm wrong. The next Davos chapter is Davos with Stannis meeting with the Castellan of Storm's End. His name's Courtney Penrose. They meet outside Storm's End. Basically, Courtney Penrose challenges him to single combat. Stannis says, no, fuck yourself. And then they leave. Nothing happens. Oh, it might be the same chapter. And then that night, Stannis is like, I need you to do something for me, Davos. You got to row Melisandre inside the walls of Storm's End. So the whole point is there's magic in the walls of Storm's End. The Shadow Baby can't get through the walls. You have to row Mel in.
He smuggles her in.
Just like the old Onion Knight days.
Exactly. Which is why, now that you know that, it just makes the show stupid. Like, what was the point of having Davos involved in the Renly kill at all? Like, it makes sense when you need him to get past the magic barrier. It does not make sense when you need him to row Melisandre to where to kill Renly. Renly's in a field.
That was too far.
You know what I mean?
It was
like,
too far. She had to get him
just,
closer.
It's just stupid. Like, you can have anybody row him there. You don't need a smuggler to row somebody just to the shore of an island. You know,
it was a lot cooler when you could actually see the shadow.
I'm not saying it's not in the show. In the show, it's cool. But like in the show,
I was
you're not thinking about it that hard.
Non-spoiler.
Like, why is Davos involved here? In the show, like, there's no reason for it.
I was going to say
like,
in the non-spoiler that the show scene is more cool.
Yeah, well, it's also cool because like in here, you're like, what the fuck is that? In the show, you're like, holy fuck, what the fuck was that? In the Davos chapter, and then in the Renly chapter, you're like, oh, that's what that was. Yeah. In the books, in the Renly chapter, you're like, what the fuck was that? And then in the Davos chapter, you're like, oh, that's what that was. And I think it's cooler in the books where like, you're like, what killed Renly? Where did this come from? Like in the first one, you're like, in the show, you realize like, oh, here's what this is. Here's where it came from. What's going to happen? True. And with half a brain, you can realize what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely cooler in the books because like,
it's cool in the books your first time because you don't know what the fuck's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in the show, after you see her give birth, you can just tell. Like, if you just stop and think for a second, like, oh wait, who would they want to kill with a shadow right now?
I mean, do you really know that shadow's going to kill somebody?
I guess not, but
what else could it do though?
I don't have anything else.
Is there anything with these gray men, the gray man, and Gray's been referred to as Stark for.
The only thing it just kind of like an army of gray.
They all turned to Stark men.
I can't really think of anything. I'm thinking the only things.
How about our boy Selmy?
I mean, they just keep. I feel like they just keep dropping his name so that you have a chance. Shows up.
And it's coming in like 2 or 3 chapters, right?
No. It's gonna be like one of the last chapters of the book.
Yeah, does
the
he
last
show
10
up in this
probably.
book?
This book, but it's the last standing chapter. It's after the House of the Undying.
Okay.
So it's gonna be one of the last ones. I don't got anything else.
I don't either. All right.
Yeah. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you like, subscribe, and
comment on our Discord. We're a lot of fun.
Discord.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody knows Discord's free. Just click the link in below and join it and talk to us like everybody else and give us a hard time.
Yeah, it's a good time.
We'll see you guys in the next one. John 4.
Family duty honor, guys.